Okay, so if the price does 14x from where it is now, right? 15x actually from where it is now, the hex market cap is going to be around 7 billion, right? So right now, like for us to reach the same market cap that we had like last week, the price needs to do 14x, right? Like so it would be like I don't know, like um, 10 cents or something like that, right? 14 to 12 cents, whatever it is, right? And this is just for like the market cap that we had right previously. So that's why I think it's it's quite possible that that we see a huge like a huge like crazy and like unforeseeable hex price, right? Because this will have a like like a big like a significant effect, right? And I don't think that we're like calculating it properly, right, in the medium term, right, like until the end of the year, let's say. I think it will onboard a lot of new people, like a lot of new people, because like Bitcoin, it is a brand that people know, right? People heard of Pulsechain for sure, but they know Hex. Like everybody in crypto, everybody I know in crypto knows Hex. Like even if it's like for the bad reasons, right? Like they know Hex, they know the brand, and that's super important, right? Because as people start buying Hex, right? Like the friends that I just mentioned, they'll speak about Hex, right? Because they just bought it, so they will like try to chill it, right? Even if it's not like publicly, but when I speak to people, they say, "Oh, I just bought Hex. I think now it's different because of this or that reason, right?" So I think that's the change that we'll see this cycle, right? It's not that Richard is going to be people are going to speak highly of Richard publicly, but they won't speak badly of him, right? That's the change I think we'll see, and probably in a couple of years, like maybe the other cycle after this one, 2030, whatever it is, then we'll see the market accepting Richard like as a good person and somebody who wants like to improve the field, let's say. But then, again, this is my feeling, but the price will have like a super important role in that perception, I think. So that's why I'm pretty certain that it's going to do many x's above the prior all-time high, right?
Because I mean, like my thinking is just, well, of course, once they see the green candles again, then everybody comes back, and I don't know. I don't know how people are gonna feel about the whole one day there it moves, and the whole, if that'll be an issue going on forward, because it felt a certain way when the wallets hadn't moved since big payday. And I don't know, it seems that it's always been like a weird conversation to have with outsiders. Like, some people has an issue with it. Some people want to know where's the ETH. Some people want to know what's gonna happen with the OA coins. What's gonna, and then that, yeah, it seems like that conversation always ends up in some type of odd way, because you have to always explain, oh, don't worry, like this might happen or that might happen, or I don't
I
know.
don't know. It's like I think like imagine for people entering now. Actually, I think it's easier for them in the sense that they're getting the lowest API possible, right? Because the OA is max staked. So for if they enter now and if they choose to stake now, like anything above what they're getting now is going to be good. So they don't mind, I think, if the OA starts to unstake again at some point in the future, right? Like not the 555 ones that he did, but the other ones, right? The ones that he's doing like 7 days or 30 days or whatever it is. Um, so I don't know. I think I think the discussion is going to be very different now again because the people who are entering now or the people who will enter like in the near future, their starting point is not the OA and stake. This the OA is fully staked, right? That's
Right.
their starting point. So they don't know how it was before. They don't even care. I think it's like this is how it is now.
Some
That's
of
how.
them didn't
Yeah.
even notice. That's the conversation.
Yeah.
That's what we were
They don't
talking
even
with
notice.
VC the
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
day. Because if
Exactly.
they're not
Exactly.
staked,
Yeah, they don't know.
if
They
they're
just
not
saw the market
staked,
cap
they didn't
changing, right?
even
They
know.
were like, okay,
Exactly.
yeah, that's why I think this plays a big role, right? Because they noticed the market cap. They didn't notice the rest, right? They didn't notice the staking or whatever if they changed the APY. They didn't give it,
That's
right?
the
Because
part that gets
yeah,
me salty, because I'm like, no, bro.
no, sure,
I've
I
been
get it.
looking at that like a hawk,
Yeah,
because
sure.
that's the little bit that I always felt that I had like so much of an advantage, almost double,
But you,
because
you and the other
yeah,
guys, right? You who have been a good, let's say, a good boy, right? You haven't been selling, you haven't
right.
been
Like
camping.
I've been a good boy. Exactly.
Yeah, but
I
look,
stick
but not
early and
like
long.
Yeah,
I
but
stick
look, but not
early and
like,
long.
but most Mexicans haven't been like that. That's why the price moved like it did, right? That's why the price
Right,
dumped
right, right, right.
99.9%, because Mexicans have been dumping. This is the reality. It is what it is, right? So we
That's
know,
the
and
part that
Richard
gets
knows.
me
Richard
salty.
looks at the, yeah, no, but look, Richard looks at the chart and is like, so these guys have been dumping on, like, on our heads. They're not staking. Okay, they're staked, but like they're selling everything, right? That's it. That's how the behavior is like a new stake. I can do an end stake and I'm gonna sell it. Boom, that's it. That's what most done have been doing, right? So I think that's why he changed the behavior. He was like, okay, I want a higher price for Hex. How can I have this, right? I need to lower the APR like substantially. I cannot have these people like dumping on me. Like this cannot happen. So the only way is like to remove their ability to do so, right? And that's why I think he's doing this. Right? But again,
And it definitely
pure
slow. I mean, it
speculation.
slows down. It'll slow down
Yeah, the
inflation, and
selling for
most
sure, man.
people, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Especially while the price doesn't appreciate, right? And this is something that I think people might not might not even like, this is something people are not gonna like, right? Like I said that the X is gonna pump a lot, right? But I didn't say that, it's gonna be gradual, right? Because I don't think it's gonna be gradual. I think this is the first part of the plan, right? No, okay, not the first. Like maybe the first part of the plan was like, the market has chosen, right? Maybe this is the second or third, doesn't matter. But this is the part of the plan where it feels that, okay, like is doing good stuff now for us, right? Like, in the sense for us, in the sense like, lowering the supply, right? The market cap, let's say. I'm not going to focus on the API right now. It's just like lowering the market cap, so which is good for new entrants. Like, so I mean that's good. But what I think it might happen is that, there's still, like, if the price increases too quickly, the X price, what's going to happen is that the people who have been selling a lot,
Dump.
well, they're going to, like, for them they're going to be on the same situation as I said before, right? If the price is 10x, they're going to be like exactly on the same spot as they were before, right? Because the dollar value of what they're dumping is the same. So what I think it might happen is that we might not see X pumping for quite some time, because I think we really need these people to like,
To
get
get shaken
ultra
out.
desperate. Yeah, they need to get out. They need to get ultra desperate, emergency and stake, get the account, and like, and afterwards probably we're gonna see like a huge, like, god candle. This is honestly my feeling.
Dude.
Yeah,
I've been
yeah. I
salivating for
need
something like that
we
because
need we need more
I even
suffering.
told
Yeah, in
everyone
X we
if
need
you
more
want to be
suffering.
liquid, just still do a super short then ladder. If obviously if gas allows it, which it has. Even now we've pumped like what, like 5-10x in average in gas, and it's still very manageable. The staking and end staking it. So I was like, if you don't have t-shirts in the pool, even if it's for one night. Obviously, it would have to be the night where the that event that you just mentioned happens. So a high emergency end stake, so high penalties, bunch of millions of units and penalties, and then again the resetting of the pool. Because it's just I don't think that we talk about that enough. I think it was Weezy that mentioned it
Hmm.
yesterday
Sure.
that we have all these conversations about changes in APY, changes on the payouts, changes on the penalties, but it's like if you just have Hex and it's just sitting there in the wallet, then you're just kind of like a spectator.
No, yeah, it's true. It's true. But look, like for the people, for the people who have like, like, how can I put this? Because this might sound this might sound a little bit contradictory in the sense that the people who have liquid hacks, right? Those are the ones who, who in the short term, who always get the best deal, right? Because when the price appreciates, that's why I'm saying in the short term, because it's when the price appreciates, they're
Oh,
liquid,
that
they can
part.
sell.
Oh, for
Yeah,
sure.
that's that's why I think they like. But again, this is something that like nobody can, change, right? Like the people
Yeah,
who are,
it's so
it
difficult
is
because
what
you
it is.
have to like end your stake at the right
Yeah,
time,
yeah,
day
and
or
this
two
is like,
before the
and
top. I mean,
nobody
it's
can
so
time it, right?
difficult.
It's like either you're lucky or you're not lucky. That's it, right? It is how it is, right?
Right, right.
So yeah, so it's like I don't think that Richard would ever try to kind of change that, because it's not something that we can predict, right? Like it's something that it is what it is. But what I think it might happen, which is super contradictory, but I think it will happen anyways, it is, although we're going to have a lower APY because the price of X will go up so much, people will tend to stake more again because they'll feel like they can earn something because the dollar value of X could be so high that they're like, oh, even it with 3 or 5%, it's a lot of money because my Hex is worth a lot, right? So that, like, I think like, and this is the end goal of, I think, of Richard, which is if you have a very valuable Hex, you don't need a high APY, right? You can have a super low APY, and people don't mind, right? That's the point.
I remember RH used to talk about this back in the day, and people used to like speculate of like if this wallet was to do anything. I remember he used to talk about like if a whale ever came in and tried to like fuck with the system, he was technically going to use that as like a front run on the whale. Like he could govern the T-share by just kind of front running the whale. I noticed there's no whale in the ecosystem now, so
Hmm.
for him to govern is technically just to front run the whole system and do whatever he wants with it. Which he that's his project. He could do it, but that kind of does ruin the brand name of like true DeFi, because that's like if a T share is a hash rate from Bitcoin, um, that's like Satoshi coming back today and just turning on every miner in the world to just you know hog all the hash rate for free. Essentially, it's not costing him anything but a gas fee to end stake or to start stake and end stake. Even though he's obviously, I don't think he'd ever sell, obviously. But it's just to govern on the system to the point where like all of us that are staking, uh, we're completely fucked now. We just got pretty much a third of everything
Yeah, we
taken,
got a
right?
big of a haircut.
Yeah. So, and I remember like I want to say at least 3 months ago, there's Hexkins like doing the roundabout. Like the Cabal group was saying like, yeah, go mortgage your house, buy Hex, and like you can live off of it. You can make $2,000 a month. And if anybody took their advice and mortgaged their house and they were getting that $2,000 a month, they're now down to like 500, maybe $300 a month, and they won't be able to get mortgage payments this week. So
Yeah, I
if
hope
those
they
cabal
didn't
people are
do that.
listening,
Because
they
like
should.
the folks that I kept telling to stake were my mostly my onboards from 22 and late 21. You know, the ones that were getting in at 40 and 50 cents. And I just remember telling them, well, I mean, I can't guarantee you the price of Hex and fiat, but if you're focusing on just acquiring more units, even if it's at 1 penny, and then all of a sudden they do the prices that Pedro's talking about, I mean, that's when you get your gains. I mean, that's what saved me when it came to the that Rep BTC pool fiasco thing. Like, I was just getting into ink, and then when it went up to 80, I was able to then sell and get like my money back. If not, I would have been wrecked.
Hmm. I,
I mean,
yeah,
Inc. Everything kind of just did the exact same thing, right? He's just following the playbook. Everybody that's living off the Inc. yield
yeah,
cannot.
yeah, exactly,
They're not
exactly.
going to live off the Inc. anymore.
Exactly, but that's why I think he's doing it for, like, the greater good, right? He's just trying to shake the system, right? And I understand where you're coming from, and I kind of agree in the sense that you cannot predict it, right? And that might not be great, it might not be a great selling point, like to, like, let's say, older trade find visuals, right? But that not might be, the people who are trying, like, who you should sell next to, right? Again, but this is such a weird opinion that I have, because I agree with you in the sense that I'm also staked, and I kind of hate that, my API is slashed, but at the same time I love it because I know it's so much easier for the new guys that coming in to just buy Hex because of the market cap, and because I don't have that much of an advantage now over them, right? And that's not bad. That's not bad at all, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, that kind of breaks the whole being early. Like everyone
But
today,
if you
technically,
were
they
like,
want
but wait,
something.
wait, if you were early and you managed to stake for like these last 5 years, you made such a crazy APY.
That's the
So I
good
mean,
Yeah.
thing I thought
right?
too. That all of a sudden those million units, they're not burned or changed or
They're
nothing.
still
So
there,
they're
right?
still
Yeah,
there, just
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
waiting.
They're waiting, man. They're waiting. Like, yeah, exactly, they're waiting. So you still got
The
like,
only thing there, guys, remember, do not burn that big payday bonus, because even if you're at 98, 99%, you'll burn the full big payday bonus, and it'll
of course,
kill like 30% of your full stake. We've
yeah,
seen it, and it's not a good, you know.
yeah.
So for whomever it happened to. So just remember, because I always kind of joke that yes, us that we stake pre big payday, um, we get all this extra APY and all that, and it's cool, but it's almost like a responsibility. You need to see it go through 100%, because all these stakes that are going to get burned now, because sure, they're at 50%, you get a portion and all that. They're going to lose that big payday bonus. They're going to, so even if, I guess, let me clarify. Stakes that even at 50, 60, 70%, they're going to end up getting less than 50%. So
And
they're at a 50, 60, 70% term, but then they'll end up getting only 40, 50% of the bag, because that big payday bonus is just gonna like, I mean,
uh,
it's crazy how much it takes
I
from
agree,
the
man.
stake.
I
And
agree. I agree.
it's a great thing, because like I know for a long time, when Richard used to go and talk to people, they were like, "Oh, well, how is it going to get paid?" And it's like, well, it's this the system. I mean, the penalties will you know rebalance and do the whole payouts and all that. And I know that it took a lot of explaining for people to even comprehend that when he used to have those conversations. But that's what it does. So if
Let me
someone
ask you a
does,
question.
yeah, brother.
What do you think is going to happen when, like, and this is all hypothetical, of course, but we're assuming that, let's assume that the price of X goes up and it goes to, let's say, $10, just to be a little bit more sensible, right? Like $10, it's super high, anyways, right? It's incredibly high. It's crazy, crazy numbers. But like, at which price point will you emergency and stake? Because I'm sure that 99% of us will emergency and stake at some price point, right?
That's a
Between
great question.
between 1 and 10, we're
I've
going to
had this
emergency and stake. Okay,
conversation with the guys in the Spanish chat a few
sure.
times. I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
No, I'm not saying you
I've
or me. I'm
waited
just
so
saying
much
people. No, but look,
for
look,
this
but
bonus.
people in general, right? Man, ID, you know
Oh,
that.
that
Like, people, they're gonna emergency and stake. I'm certain, right? I'm
oh,
certain.
I would
at like
just
20
ballpark it,
cents, like
50
15
cents.
cents.
Okay, so
Yeah, or
exactly. So
exactly, or back to all time highs. Yeah,
so
exactly,
50
for
Yeah,
cents,
sure.
$1. People are
50 cents
okay.
and one
Yeah,
dollar
at
is going
Yeah.
to be
50
So
cents, I mean, at
big
50
big
cents,
wall.
we recycle like at least 25% of the 8 million t-shirts that are now, the 8.9
No,
million.
but that's my point exactly. Like at some price point, like T-shirts are gonna start disappearing again, right? And let me further the discussion, because this is what I
Great
think
point.
what
Hmm.
this is what I think is gonna actually happen, which is everybody's assuming, okay, the OA is going to stay staked, right? Because this is the game now. But as we just realized, the game changes, right? At some point, the OA is going to be, nope. Yeah, I want
Hmm.
a higher API again, because yeah, I want people to stake again, right? Like, too many emergency end stakes, people sold too much, and I want the t-shirts to be, rare again. So let's fucking go, right? So I think this is a possibility that a part of the stakes that he has. I'm not saying he's going to emergency and stake or any of that. I'm not going to like go into crazy like areas, right? I'm just going to say, like, the part that he's doing, like the 30-day stakes or whatever, or 7 days, that part he can like stop staking, right? He can just keep it liquid again. So I'm pretty sure this is going to happen at some point again, right? Because I think this is the way that he has to be, like, kind of like the Fed, right? To incentivize the staking or disincentivize the staking, etc., right? So I'm not going to say disincentivize staking. I'm going to say lower the supply, right? Lower the supply and lower the market cap. So I mean, this is why I think, like, the game is going to be like played next by him, right? In the sense that he wants the people to go against themselves, right? He wants us to emergency and stake, so that we can regret later, right? That, I should have stayed stake. I should have listened to Richard when he said, like, the guy who made the most was the guy who bought Bitcoin at $1 and never sold, right? So um like and again, this is why I think the price is going to go so much higher than 50 cents or $1, because a lot of people are going to drop at those numbers, right, at those levels. So yeah, it can go much higher than that because of that, right? Yeah.
This move though, this move is giving me an extra year of bear cycle over here, at least 9 months, because now people are making money off the system and they're currently living off of it,
Hmm.
and it's gonna force those hands to literally full clip out instead of just sell the interest restake. They're
Exactly,
gonna have to full
exactly,
clipping
man.
out.
Exactly, exactly.
But
Well
that's so
put.
that's sell pressure.
Yeah, yeah.
That's instant sell pressure.
But it's good
It
sell
really
pressure.
is.
But it's good sell pressure. I think it's good sell pressure.
It's good, but there's nobody else to buy it with the sack bag being down 200 mil. So it's not like you can go up from here. It's just another downtrend for 9 months.
Yeah, but again, I'm not worried about that at all. Again, because
Yeah, some people are.
no, honestly, because I think at some point, if you just have to have the balls to hold it, right? Because at some point we're gonna see the god candles again. At some point
Yeah, but
it's gonna
how
go
many?
crazy.
You literally have people over here like vegetables, like living off the system. They're gonna full clip out. You expect them to like sacrifice anything? They don't work anymore.
That's why I think it needs to change, right? That's why I want to see those people jitting out. I want them to sell as early as possible. And this is why I
Yeah.
think this happened, right? Because now they're forced, as you were saying so correctly, they are forced to sell the entire clips. Is not just the yield, right? They need to sell everything. So it's good. It's sell pressure, sure. It looks bad, sure, but it's good because that would be much sell pressure later, right? So if they need to sell now, okay, it's good. They cannot hold anyways, right? So yeah, I don't see that as a problem. Like, yeah, I never see sellers as the problem. I see not having buyers as the problem, right? And I think that
Other than price going down.
yeah, and but that is going to change like so quickly and so fast once the price starts to move up, right? We've seen that in 2021, like with Hex and
How does the price move up?
like many different reasons, like the sacrifice funds buying it, people buying it, or a market shift, for some reason people start going into the Pulsechain narrative. I don't know, there's so many options, right? I can assign probabilities. I can say that I think personally that probably the sacrifice funds starting buying, like you did last year, right? That will probably kickstart things, right? And then we'll see more movement because of those buys, right? But this is only my opinion, right? I could be again wrong. I think we'll have a lot of new buyers once the prices do, like maybe I don't know, 5 to 10x from here, from where we are today, right? So, and that's not difficult at all, like for him to do, right? It doesn't require that much money, especially now that the liquidity has dropped. So I think it's not hard at all. Honestly, it's not hard at all to do that, like to the prices. And I don't think he would spend even 10% of the sacrifice funds, right? So um, the rest is like new buyers. The rest is like just a normal market buying it, right? So yeah, but let's see, man. Let's see. My analysis could be like so wrong. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
The good thing is like now, if supply goes down, maybe liquidity goes down, right? So those pools dry out, people buy it up.
Yeah, and it's easier to pump, right? That's the point. It's just easier to pump because there's less people, there's less liquidity. Basically, there's less people providing liquidity. So yeah, the prices are a little bit easier to pump. But even like it doesn't really make the difference at the end of the day, right? Because I think the goal of the sacrifice funds are not to be used, like the majority of them are not to be used, in my opinion. They're like kind of like the carrot, right? They're like the incentive, like for people to join, right? It's like, oh, there's like this bunch of money that at some point is gonna enter Pulsechain like all at once, right? That's I think that's a good incentive for people to look at, right? So that's why I think that, like at least in my opinion, a significant portion of the sacrifice funds will remain in it, right? For the foreseeable future. It might convert to Pulsechain assets, sure, at some point, but I like I think that having the minute is actually good, especially when the price of it goes up, obviously. But even if it doesn't go up that much, right? It's kind of like the incentive, like I call it the carrot, right? The carrot in front of the donkey, let's say, so that he wants to go, right? So that he wants to move. He sees the carrot. It's like, I know that the sacrifice funds are there. I know that they're going to be used. So I just want to buy before he starts deploying, like all of them, right? So that's why I think that when once he deploys like 5-10%, people are gonna FOMOing in. They will FOMO in because they'll see they'll imagine what's gonna happen next, right? So yeah.
Yeah, that'll be nice. And when we get the when the tweet from the Trump family, the Trump the World Liberty thing, that would be nice if they buy.
Yeah,
Like
that would be
you
cool.
figure that they're probably buying already. Some is just probably they're doing it, you know, and there's some other wallets. But if they're buying so much crypto, say just at one point I hadn't noticed how much money they've been buying on crypto. It's a lot of money.
Yeah, it is. They're buying like they already have like 500, like 400 for 500 million, something crazy like that. I think, like
Right.
total,
So you
right?
figure
Total.
it's like this is like the first time they're buying crypto, whatever. It's like, yeah, we're gonna buy like a couple $100,000 or something. We're gonna put obviously once you're in those many billions of dollars, technically they are allocating only a tiny percentage of their portfolio. So for
Yeah.
us, it looks like crazy. I'm sure for them, it's like, oh yeah, just it's like 1%. We're like 1% in crypto.
Yeah, man. I think it's gonna be okay for us. We just have to be a little bit patient. But yeah, at some point things are gonna turn around in the sense of price action. And we already saw a little bit of that last year, right? When he gave us a little taste of what could happen, right? But too many jits, right? Too many people selling, and I think that's why he kind of, kind of stopped. I think everybody is expecting ETH to pump so that he moves the funds. I don't think it's that much related to ETH, to be honest. I think it's more related to the behavior of the pulse chain users and how the money affects the new buyers, right? Because what I think it happened last time is that money was deployed, but we didn't see that many people coming into pulse chain, right? But I think this time is going to be different. So I might be crazy, right, thinking that this time is different, but I actually think this time is different, right? I think that we'll have a different. Set of rules, let's say, not set of rules, like a different situation. That's what I mean. Like
Hmm.
the sec case, I think it's probably going to be dropped sometime, not sometime soon, I guess. But like compared to like 6 months ago, right? When I say soon, is like compared to 6 months ago, right? We're getting closer to the case being dropped, in my opinion, right? I could be wrong, of course. And a bunch of other positive things, right? And so I think like the outlook around Pulsechain is going to be a little bit different. So we might get new buyers easily, right? That's what I think.
No, this time is definitely different. Because in the last few years, it was always like 1 year the banks would be doing R&D and then getting all these patents. Remember, they would like just be like
Mm.
gobbling up all these patents. Bank of America and Wells Fargo, all these companies, they have like a couple hundred patents on blockchain and
On
crypto.
blockchain, yes, yes, sure, sure,
Yeah,
yeah,
and
of course,
they
yeah, yeah,
don't
sure.
even use the tech. And then so
Hmm.
but they
Sure.
were bullish, and then they would talk to the regulators, and the regulators would be like, "No, you can't use it."
So the '08 really burned some hex, huh? A big chunk. It was like 50 mil or 50 bill or
No,
some.
you just staked it. Just
No, no, there was some sent to the burn address. Didn't you see from whale alerts?
yeah,
I
no,
guess
but
they
it just
posted
it
TX.
looks
It's
it's
all a
written
burn
as a
address.
burn address because it's like the hex gets burned, so it technically gets burned, but then in
Ah, okay.
30 days he can reclaim it, and then plus the bonus.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Okay.
it's yeah. So you know how like normally when we normally send to a 0-0 burn, that's it. Like it's gone. Like there's no coming back.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But this one's just like a different. Which I mean, it's cool. It does a bunch of different things because then it's like we were talking earlier with Pedro. Then you know supply gets shortened, market cap gets changed, APY changes, goes down because all these new T-shirts are created. So I mean, it's all great. I just I wish that all these changes would be folks making these changes. You know, not just some invisible hand that might or might not be Richard.
The Wizard of Oz,
Right.
the Wizard of Hex.
I try never to think about price. I try to never think about yeah maybe the sacrifice money can do this or the oh it could do that. So even all these moves
Pedro?
I wasn't expecting, even though I had seen them. You know, I saw them on Big Payday, but
Yeah, I mean, just speculating, like cut the inflation, ratchet up the T-share rate a little, not crazy. Maybe get the hex price moving upwards as well, which then could really put some bigger players maybe offside a little, so they don't have as much power as they had before, right? Who knows?
Okay, but
He's
Magic,
pretty. He's pretty smart.
Magic, yeah, okay. So let's say that liquid hex being held by individuals. Yeah, before that, when it wasn't staked, yes, was like that would add to a liquidity or whatever. That if you looked at like open tokens for sale, would it not show up on that Richter scale that all those
Oh,
coins were like on them?
any
No, but
tokens.
they were liquid tokens because they were not staked. Yes.
Yeah,
So
well,
then you
when you
stake
stake, they're
those
burnt. When you
tokens, they
stake, they're
go
burnt.
off of that.
Well, they're burnt.
Yep.
They're gone. They're
You
burnt.
take it
They go
away
to the
from the
dead
liquid.
address. No, they're
Yes, they
burnt.
go
They go to the
away.
zero address. They're burnt.
Okay, but they're off that liquid
Yeah.
hex market, right?
Yep.
So you're making smaller, like lower liquidity market by staking those hex. Yes, you're taking them off market, basically. You put them in the stake, right? And then
Well, the
what is
system's
I mean, all
dynamic
right,
because you get inflation coming out every day, right? Too. So it's dynamic. It
yeah.
goes up and down. So
And
maybe
then
there's
what you
more burnt.
do, and then maybe what you do is you EES those stakes and give 50% of it to
Nope.
the other
He's not going to
stakers,
do. He's not going to do that.
and then you get 50% back to the OA.
Nope. If he did that, I'll curl over in my grave, man. I just don't see. He's trying to cut inflation. His tweets over the last 2 days are very clear about inflation kills things, right? So why would he then want to give half of that inflation, half of those coins to the stakers? It makes no sense.
Right. So it's a bad move.
I think he's burnt a lot of it to make a statement. Get rid of that whole. What are the fudders going to come with now? Well, they can't say he's going to dump on you because he doesn't have it,
Yeah, it's
or the
staked,
OA
man.
doesn't have
Mhm.
it. Right? It's all staked. A lot of it's staked for 15 years. Rolling ones are in play, but the OA's never done anything bad to the system. So let's see. I think they're testing like how much it's ratcheting up the T-share rate, how much it changes the market cap, and they're just seeing the cause and effect to work out what's going to be the right moves moving forward for this hopefully bull market, right? That's what I think. He's a smart dude, man. Like, why wouldn't he be thinking those sort of things?
100%. He thinks like a bunch of levels deep. So then if he makes, or somebody makes a whole bunch of stakes, the next day to stake, you're going to be less, you're going to be getting less of that pie, right? That's fact. But if it's those guys' stakes are 15 years, and maybe yours is a year or 6 months or something, maybe now cranked up the price because of smaller liquid hex on the market.
It's interesting times, that's for sure. It's
Or you
even
just
like
get,
what he did with the incentive inflation too, right? He reduced that and then reduced it again.
I didn't know I didn't know that got ratcheted down. I didn't know that changed.
Twice,
I didn't know.
twice,
Twice, two
twice.
times?
It went
Really?
from one incentive token per second to 0.1 incentive token per second to 0.05 incentive tokens per second. So he's cut that dramatically down. That's
Well,
only the
that's why
way.
it's, but I mean, the things, yeah, but homie, the thing's called incentive token to incentivize the things into the thing.
No,
So, well,
he's telling people pull the liquidity. You're no longer incentivized to provide liquidity. Let's get the liquidity down so the prices can pump. That's the signal, I think.
or just earn it by putting two things together and making fees off of it. You don't even need to get paid in ink.
Yeah, maybe
That's why it was incentive.
maybe he'll
How
start
long
putting
does
his pump
incentive, like,
maybe he'll start putting his pump tire meme coins in farms. Who knows? Who knows what he's gonna do next? At this
that's
point,
pretty funny,
I would
man.
not be
Parents,
surprised. At this point, I would
okay.
not be surprised.
So Magic, how did you feel about that when you seen that like the launch thing? You can launch a ticker or launch a token or launch a thing, and then pump tires. Yeah. How did you feel about that
Well,
when
it's
you
not
saw it?
my look. It's not my. I'm not a trader, so but like everyone's got different appetite for things, so it's going to attract a whole lot of people and activity, and maybe other people from fun on the other chains. I think what the way he did it was better in the sense that like see, I'm
It's easy.
pump.fun. All the Solana goes to the team and they dump it and take the profits off chain. Where pump tires, it all gets burnt, right? Locked in liquidity and burnt, right? So you got a whole lot that's locked in the liquidity forever when it bonds, and
Yeah, in the Pulsex there or whatever.
yep. And all the stuff pre-bonding gets burnt. So it's taking lots of pulse out of circulation forever. And then
Let's go.
obviously all the activity in the degens trading on
Yeah,
on
they're
chain
just
once it
burning Pulse.
bonds
If they don't
is
make
burning
it, man, if
pulse.
they do, they
Well, they're
launch shit
burning.
tokens and they get burnt Pulse.
They're burning Pulsex as well on the decks, right? Because they're all on
Oh, that's
V2. they all go to V2, right? That's where they auto launch. So I think his game theory is good. Whether it's like anything in life, though. Some people like to fast food. Some people like fine dining. We all like different things. I'm not a pump tire guy. I'm not going to go like it's just not. But there's plenty of people who are. So it's good to just have all these different shops in the arcade that people can go play.
Yep.
No, well, I just wanted to see what if RH knew how to build a protocol, but what if he was learning that what he built was a blockchain, and he kind of like had to change his mind afterwards, because he's like, well, what's gonna give, Hex is a protocol itself, the Hex contract, and it does one thing,
Yeah.
but a whole blockchain does it allows for a range of variety of projects to work on it. So
Fair
I mean,
point.
what if he decided to change his mind, and just that's my first part. Right?
Well, no, I will allow for that. I think we all here would allow for that. We have enough faith in this man. You have to understand that even as stalwarts, I'm speaking for myself, and IDB and Kyle are welcome, and Jocelyn are welcome to add or whatever. Hex trafficker, is that you? We would allow for this man to vacillate a little bit. And another thing, it's not just the vacillation aspect; it's that we are living in an organic, time where things are in flux. Things are in flux at all time. We're building our own game theory in response to a lot of things that are swirling all around us. We would have forgotten our humanity if we weren't able to move with Richard as he improves, as he shifts, as he changes. So you bring up a good point. I noticed that he would go back and forth a lot, though. He wouldn't just go, I feel this. Now I have an enlightened view, and I now feel this. It wasn't that. It was almost an afterthought that Richard would say, okay, it's like this. No, wait, it's like this. No, wait, now I'm back to the original thing. Well, wait, now we're going to go, and to me, that's not the Richard I'm used to. I mean, this guy saved my life at the end of 2017 with his certainty, with his drive, with his confidence, with his principles, with his testosterone. It's not an evil thing. It's how we keep our children from being dragged underground and poked and prodded. I mean, for God's sakes. And this is why I ask, when it comes to these first principles, when it comes to your right to transact as you see fit, when has the fight gone far enough that you stand up and say, DeFi or die?
Has seen cheap gas. So Richard has tricks that they can, but I don't think he wants to do that yet. Maybe if it becomes an actual issue and he starts to see a lot of, complaints and sentiment within the community, then I'm sure he'll pull some more levers, and because that's one of his things, cheaper, faster. So he's going to want to stick to that narrative, and
Which was
and
weird
as
because
soon
he
as and
shared a
as soon as
post.
it doesn't become cheaper, then he's going to have to pull a lever.
Like he shared that post the other day showing that Ethereum's gas was high or lower than Pulsechain's. Isn't that
Yeah, but
weird?
I think he was sort of like saying, "See, I told you we would take the load off Ethereum." That's what I think his train of thought is.
With
It's
the
working.
measly $50 million, $100 million volume, get out of here! Like, dude, they're doing 1.62, and we haven't even reached a billion. We haven't even
on
reached the
half a
real bull run
million
yet.
validators.
I don't know, man. I feel like
Yeah, we don't tell the truth about that either. We'll say we got all these validators, but it's the fucking same fucking
I would
hundred
say
people.
that when Richard came up with the idea of Pulse Chain, if he'd got it out a lot sooner and had that advantage, then we probably would be, and the sacrifice, volume multipliers and that were garbage as well. But by the time he actually got to market, from when Ethereum gas prices were bad, and this is why we're doing it, how many other blockchains, not just EVM, but blockchains in general, do we have now? So the whole crypto community as a whole is diluted into so many chains now.
100%.
So all of them contributed to the lower gas on Ethereum, and the explosion of L2s for Ethereum have also contributed to the lower gas fees on Ethereum and Pulse Chain. And when we had the idea of Stakehouse to mitigate the gas issue on Ethereum, which isn't an issue now, but it's not to say it might not be in the future. People are like, why even bother releasing pooled stakes on Pulse Chain? And we're like, well, who's to say that Pulse Chain doesn't get adoption and becomes expensive? So if it does, then we've future-proofed that issue,
Yep.
regardless whether Richard.
Oh, that'd be dope for a change.
Yeah.
Somebody thinking about problems
Yeah.
ahead.
So we've negated that issue whether Richard pulls a lever or not.
Like I'm confused why we didn't stick with BSC. Like we were going after being a fork of BSC, right?
Dude, that
Oh,
V2V
you and me
chain, I still
both.
salivate because we were doing what, like 3 or 4 second blocks. I mean, it was so fast. It was
Yeah,
I was always on
They
that
that
was what
found.
was
testnet, bro.
I'd have
advertised.
to go back through my notes back in the day, but they did find. I remember they found flaws in that code that they didn't think they could manipulate or fix that set boundaries for the future. You know, like BSC is
Yeah.
fast and cheap because it's highly centralized. There's only like 21, to my knowledge, 21
Right, the
uh,
Ev-
validators.
e-
validators
every
and,
That's what
and
we used
guy
to
CZ on
every
joke. We
guy
top,
used to
wants
joke it was like
right?
CC and 5 guys.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
yeah,
they
well, I was
rolled
gonna
back
say
the DC-10 before.
every guy wants a woman that's gonna be a great cook and raise healthy, good children. She's gonna stay at home, she's gonna nurture the faith and carry the legacy of the family, and he also wants a dirty, filthy
And then
whore. So here
and
we
then
are, and
Richard, obviously, like a lot of us, never thought Ethereum was actually ever gonna on their ever
Get cheaper.
expanding
Not
roadmap
at levels
was
as
ever actually
today,
going to
bro.
pivot.
Yeah,
Was ever
not
going
at
to
this
pivot from
levels.
proof of work to proof of stake. And the moment
Under one way.
that happened, he's like, no, we're going with proof of stake 2.0 Ethereum. And then we get every upgrade that they do. We can implement those upgrades over time. Right now, for whatever reason, it appears that they haven't done some of the recent upgrades that Ethereum have done, but it'd be good for H and his team.
are you talking about the EIP from Standard, that's Stanford University, that says they can roll back the chain whenever they feel like
No.
it?
What, Ethereum? I mean, they rolled it back in what, 2018? Didn't they? 2017?
Yeah, they're talking about
Well,
making it an easy access
when
network for
Oh,
when
Stanford.
the when the when the was it the
The Dow
what was
hack.
that exploit with the DAO hack? That's when the Ethereum Classic and Ethereum. That's when the fork happened. So Ethereum Classic is actually the real Ethereum, and Ethereum is the fork. But the consensus from the community was they went with Ethereum because they didn't want to be able to roll back the
Hmm.
chain and that
This is
sort of
the
stuff.
hacker. The hacker had a bunch of Ethereum Classic.
Oh.
yeah.
Hmm.
Hey guys, this has been like awesome. I can't believe I came back and this is what I stepped into. And I want to thank you. I get smarter every time I'm around you guys. I unfortunately have to go, but I feel blessed to have been a part of this. Can I just ask you guys real quick? Just anybody, you guys can emoji it or you guys please speak. Do you think that's a good idea? IDB, Magic Carpet Ride, Kyle, Jocelyn, Crypto Prospector. Do you guys think we should maybe formalize a list of these concerns and these questions?
I mean, maybe, man. It
It doesn't
just,
hurt. The problem is, how do we get the answers? It
yeah.
seems like it
Yeah,
seems
because I
like
mean,
You
I
know
could
what?
say
seems
like
I
what
like
think that
Richard
what
was
you do
hear
is
telling
you
me
you.
out.
build a
Hear me
groundswell.
out for a second. Like Brett comes online, the Pulsechain dev, and talks about how
Yeah.
Solana's. He doesn't use such provocative language like trash, like Richard would, but he talks it down that it has
Yeah.
fake volume and this and that, and then he talks about
Sure.
other shortcomings on chains and whatnot, and how good Pulsechain is. But then
Okay.
respectful people in the community, and I've seen plenty of them, like Security Fund Token here. He's not respectful when he's drunk, but he has been respectful in replying to Brett and others in the community that are higher up. What about the scanner? What about Pulse Scan? And he
Yeah.
never responds to those. Why?
We're not alone.
What?
Yeah, I
What?
know we're
Why
not
not just
alone. I know
respond
there's
to it?
good people
Why not come
sprinkled.
out and say
Yeah.
it is what it is, or we're working on it, we acknowledge it, it will be fixed? Like there's no transparency or even acknowledgement of the shortcomings of the scanner. And as a
Okay. Well, let me
builder,
put this to you real quick as
it's
an
hard to
anecdote
build with
personally.
a scanner that doesn't work properly. I feel like it's easy to speculate on why hasn't he done this or why hasn't he done that, but we don't really know like the full scope of what he's had to deal with this whole SEC and now the red notice, and so I'd like to think that he's still gonna. I still think he wants the glory. That's my belief.
Yeah. Okay. So I believe that in a sense too, like over anything. But at the end of the day, dude, people are getting slaughtered on your chain. Slaughtered by all this nonsense. And you're putting out like it's just to me it's obvious, and it's why are you're playing all this 5D chess when it's like it's supposed to be decentralized, dude. You shouldn't have all of this. You have so much of this power and you realize it. Like if everyone else realizes it, so do you. And you're putting out a meme dex and you're launching tickers for Hex, Pulsechain, all of this, and it's only going to confuse people. Like, it's only going to make things more complicated at the end of the day. Like, why?
Oh
And
yeah,
people
what's
say to
happened
get the
over the
weak hands
last
out, and it's like
what's
that's
happened
not what
over
Glory
yeah,
is
what's
about.
happened
Glory
over
should
the
be about
last
helping everybody,
what's happened
right?
over the last couple weeks to me sends a signal that he must know something legally that's going on in the background, because I just don't see in what world that he would release pump tires tied to Pulsex. So it's all well known that it's tied to RH and his team. Release a bunch of meme coins. That doesn't align with someone who is heavily in trouble with the SEC. So
Right?
it seems to me like we don't know, and maybe his legal advice is, "Hey man, this is over. It's only a matter of time." Because it just doesn't. I don't see why he would do these actions that he's done in the recent couple of weeks if he didn't think he was in the clear, because he'd only be amplifying his issue. That's my opinion.
Yeah, and I respect that. I don't know. I'm a very transparent person because I don't understand that I don't. It's like, and I get it. I'm not in RH's position that much responsibility and whatnot, but it just I don't know. It's just like, dude, work with people. Like you can. That's what I mean. It's like work with people. At the end of the day, there's many people in the
The right
community,
people. The right people.
the right people, 100%.
Bro,
But you should be able to tell
exactly.
at this point by what people build who's the right person and who's not. Like you got Rackham coming in showing a stable coin that has admin key, like it has endless functionalities to rug at any moment, and it's just like I don't know. It's just disencouraging, man. It's discouraging.
Not to mention just openly now stating, I'm gonna sell in your heads. It's like, oh
Yeah,
great. So anyone new that wants to join in, right? Now you're gonna be like, well, this guy just wants to slaughter me. So no thanks. Like,
and I try and stay positive, man. I really do about everything in life. But sometimes, yeah, you just get discouraged, and you just sit there and you go, what is going on?" This guy had the world by the balls. Like I legit thought that he was going to be like the Elon of finances and financial, and bringing the next wave of crypto and decentralization. And then like that was my biggest thing, decentralization. Yes, I want to get rid of everything. I don't want any risk, or I want to reduce risk as much as possible. And then it's like, oh, by the way, I can just kill staking. Did you guys know that? It's like, all right, cool, man. I
No
see the
one knows what he.
bullishness in it, but
No one knows. Look, I said this to ID yesterday in his thing. I believe that I don't know if you remember the old hex.vision site. It had amazing amount of data, a bit like what Crispy Man does now. Like
oh yeah,
so much data. It wouldn't put it past me that Richard has his own version of a UI, which just gives him visual numbers and visual data, clicks of buttons where he can just at any easy time just see the entire Hex ecosystem, what's happening, who's doing, like, not who, but how short big whales are doing rollings, and then maybe starts to make some calls like this, right? So yeah, he's the always staked a heap out for 55555. All right, so now we can't have the FUD of how he's going to sell on your head. Yeah, it's lowered the pay up the T-share. Now he did a seven day stake with some of the addresses, and then restake that and the yield for 30. I think that's obviously going to ratchet up the T-share rate a bit, and it's reduced the payout to about 1.9 currently. No one knows whether that's forever. Like he could be looking at these stats, which I think he would have some sort of boss user interface to just see whether he's getting rid of some of these. I wouldn't say nefarious actors. They're just using the system to the best of their ability. They got lots of hex. They were earning lots of yield, and they were living off that yield and dumping the price down. So maybe the price goes up, the yield goes down. Right, one offsets the other. Maybe at some point in the future, he goes, right. We've negated some of this. For them to get back in, they're going to have to stump up more or buy more or whatever, and then he starts to not stake as much, and the T-share rate, pay up the T-share rate goes back up. I mean, it will go back up by itself like it has in the past, naturally, but obviously incrementally slow. But maybe in 30 days or 60 days, he decides not to stake for 1 month and sees what happened and gauges the sentiment, and then maybe he does it again. Like we just don't know. We don't know.
well, but that's centralization. That's the same thing as having an admin key. Literally the same
Well,
exact thing.
the thing is all you can really reflect on is the history, right? The OA has only ever acted in the best interest of the
Of
protocol, like Big Payday, right? That protected the
what did that protect?
believers, that protected the belief because everyone knew because they were communicating about it. With Big Payday's coming, we're going to get. So there's a whole lot of people, newbies, new to the system, probably Bitcoiners and all sorts of other people that all came and staked just prior to big payday so they could get that big payday bonus. Because if you stay through that period, you got the big payday bonus. And he's like, nah, screw that. The OA's like, we're not going to give all these newcomers all this extra inflation just for coming in for a couple of days and then dump it straight afterwards. So to protect that, he staked, or the OA staked everything and reduced that inflation massively to protect.
But you see,
Uh,
that was valid all the way till they staked those 7 days the other day, because in my mind, I felt that okay, on that moment, all the way till the OA was going to stake, I was going to get 300% my bag. I was going to get 100 something million units. So I wanted that because I had been locked for all through 2020 as everyone else was dumping, going through all these events for Hex and all this bull. But then my thinking is, I want the units. I don't want to you wait later and then that amount. You know what? It went down like 90% because we went from like 300% on one day. So basically, if it would have stayed like that, you could have locked up your units for one day, get 300% your bag, and obviously dump it. So the effect was we were trying to keep the price up. That was the reason that you wanted to have all those units locked by the OA. But now it's like it's also taking the yield from us that we delayed the gratification. So that now it's almost like it's screwing up then the people that delayed the gratification back then to wait for it to try to get the 30% later. But now we're getting that 30% diluted as well, which again, you're not
yeah,
going to see
it's
many
it's
people
definitely it's
complaining
definitely
about it because
yeah.
not many people stake for 15
and
years.
and I'll
Yeah.
defend ID's frustration lately too. Even though it's too small of a time window to see if this pays off, but so far, like it hasn't attracted new money. Certainly not confidence in the product of people already in here. If anything, it's just the nefarious actors are just fuck you.
Right, exactly.
Like, so
Because liquid loans guys are still moving. They just moved $2 million like 2 weeks ago, so they're cool. You know, they don't give a flying fuck if their bags of hex is going down. Like I have to wait to move my millions because my millions are locked. So I mean, we're not playing in the same level field, and that's the part that pisses me off because when it comes to marketing, when it comes to all this other bullshit or the scams that guys like Crypto Coffee pull to then they get 80 grand while I was then locking my, like doing things out of my pocket. Like the other day, like somebody asked me, like, "Oh, well, ID, what have you done with the Pulsechain Foundation? Why are you not doing this?" And da 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 da. I'm like, bruh, like I'm using my money. Thing I wanted to say because it's like, yeah, no, at that moment it definitely protected us because we were trying to keep the price up. We were thinking that 300% in supply for the people that were locking right there close to big payday was gonna be like dump city, and then it ended up dump sitting. We went down in price, and then now this is happening. Which I like I said, that my biggest beef is just that most of the people that have been complaining about this and they're very very loud about it, you could
we're
tell
not
that
playing the
they're
game.
not. Yeah, they were not even playing the games.
Maybe the OA's plan was to rinse some people out, get them out of the system, ratchet up. He did a 7 days. It didn't really spike the T-share rate much at all. Now it's done 30 days and see how much that brings it up. And then maybe it gets to a level that's in line with how it used to be rising when there was a lot more activity. And then it just stops again. And then maybe Richard does one of those obscure tweets, oh, it looks like the OA has played a good Samaritan and raised the T-share rate, and who knows how he's a master framer, right? I don't. At the end of the day, the only thing that's going to bring in new people and new money is green candles. You can do all the marketing in the world; it doesn't matter. Green candles is what's going to bring people. It's as simple as that.
Which it's so unfortunate. It's just that simplistic. It's just very unfortunate. Like especially with the farms like having way less liquidity, you would think people would go, "Oh, I should increase my bags because there's not much left," and it's so far it's still not doing that.
Well, we're all still here, and if we've all still held our conviction, we're either going to be heroes or zeros.
And hell, and now it makes the situation of all these worthless sacrifice projects, all the money gone to them. Now it hurts even more because that could have been used to, like, keep our chain look alive and stable. Instead, it was given to people who don't care. They just want to just get easy money and then dip and never have to do the hard work.
There's definitely plenty of those, unfortunately. Seems to be in every ecosystem, but there's good ones as well. And we do need to have a whole lot of different tools or DeFi tools and games or whatever you want to call it on the chain. So when the green candles come, they got things they can do, right? So I don't know. It's definitely tested my resolve the last little while, but still deep down think I trust the man's plan. He wants the glory. He wants to stroke his own ego. I really think.
I think that that's the one thing that we should just never just not mention this anymore, because it's just not DeFi though. The problem is, like,
Yeah,
if we keep with that, it's just not DeFi, and they're gonna use that against us. I feel that that Charles just took a jab at us yesterday with the whole 90% movement of the supply. So they are looking at stuff like that.
yeah.
We gotta reduce sell pressure. Like I posted a comment actually in the chat of Dev Kyle. He did an article, like a Medium article years ago when Hex was launching, and he said the core principle with Hex is that there has to be more buy pressure than sell pressure. And it's like I've said that for years, but I mean more people don't understand that, unfortunately. Like, yeah, that's where people do call it a Ponzi scheme. But what's cool is, as a decentralized product with a big enough community, if we were more accepting about people building cool stuff that surrounding Hex, that will, take some of this inflation and utilize it, instead of, that people got put down. When a new Hex project, I remember that when I launched Superstake, I had Jesse, literally, or was it Jesse? Yeah, it was Jesse, screaming at me when I was telling him when I was explaining the idea in I forget what Telegram room it was, but it was like a pitch thing. This guy was screaming at me about Hex and how, and it's just like, dude, how do you not see this? Like, Hex is meant to be built on. That's the only way you're going to reduce the inflation, going to single people. But nobody seems to see it. That's why I love your project, Ty, and projects like Maxi and like Hex One and all of that just take away the supply and they lock it into cool stuff and they make the ecosystem more. They make it where you don't just have to sit there and sit around for 7 years and wait for, and there's still guys that say, like, oh dude, you got to stake for a minimum of 5 years. It's like, do you? Why? Like, why are you saying that? Because
Well,
right now I wouldn't stake.
the beauty
I
of
would
our
never stake. Like,
the beauty
Yeah,
of our
now it
system
seems
is
like,
people
yeah,
people can stake. Like, let's say a pool comes out that's big, and maybe it's 5 years or 6 years, and people are a little apprehensive, but they go in it. They have the ability of, we've made basically T-shares tradable. So you get a receipt token like an LP when you go into a pooled stake. You can go at some point in the future and put that on our OTC, work out a fair price, because one receipt token reflects one hex in that pool plus whatever it's earning in payouts in Hedron and Hex. And you could calculate that like people have in the past, and you can look at it on Hex Scout and say, all right, well, maybe it's worth 1.5 hex and I'm going to put up 1 million of them. So I want 1.5 million. And so obviously someone has to buy it, but they are tradable.
yeah, man. Like, and you're a guy just on some part of the planet that, decided to put much of his time, resources, energy into building this thing. And it's like, people don't, like, people should be thankful that we are building on this stuff, like that we're trying to, because don't get me wrong, like,
I
I
think it'll
think
come
Hex
around,
would have been
Kyle.
fine by
I think it'll
itself
come
on
back.
Ethereum.
I think it'll come back round, brother. I think everyone's got that short attention span, high dopamine meme thing going on right now. That's not going to last, dude.
Well, it's
Um,
been like this since day one of the community. We got to get
and
rid
I,
of this cult mindset. We got to get rid of this believing in a single person to come save us mindset. Like, we're a community. That's how things get built. You can't expect one guy and just wait around for one guy. You got to start showing good stuff. Like, shill away. Don't be scared. But don't show stuff that is obviously going to rug or have no value in
right.
the next week. and you know that, and the only reason you're showing it is because you want to make 100% gain real quick, not realizing that if you actually were to show something decent, that you can make some real money and you can make some real gains and you can be a part of something. Like people is, yeah, it's like, okay, you make a quick buck, and it's just, I'm old school crypto, man. I like the original message. If you really wanted to fix Hex and just make it a little different, all you got to do is base the T-share rate off the price. Would require an oracle, but basically,
What are you talking from the liquidity position prices or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So that way, it incentivizes new people to come in still, people to do shorter, or no, I'm sorry. Yeah. So it incentivizes new people to come in. And they don't have to stake for 7 years. Like they don't, just to see the same type of return as the person. Like that's what I never liked about Hex necessarily, is it's not built for longevity. Like it was only built to be a one cycle coin, and then what happens, is what happens in my mind.
I think it was
Well,
built. I
then
think it was built right. It's just that the second people were just thinking short term.
Well, yeah, but
So
I'm saying
as the
build it
first
where
wave
it's
of
not
us,
based
some of
off
us were throwing
emotions.
5-year stakes, some people were throwing like 15-month stakes or 12-month stakes, and then whenever they took out their gains in April and September of 21, then they're like, you dumps, like why would you ever lock? And they're like, well, you guys took our liquidity. So yeah, of course you're gonna love the product at short term. But the idea was that the people that were going in on year two, they were throwing stakes to 2037. Instead, they were throwing them to September of 2021 and then cashing out too. So that's why, like I'm saying, that removing the supply of the OA means nothing, because the OA was not selling. The people that were selling, their supply is not getting affected, so they're gonna still dump. There's gonna be people making 5 and 10 APY that dump more coins than me making 80, 90, 100 APY, because my thoughts are that I don't want to be in fiat. So I want to be away from that game.
Yeah.
There's people that they're ready to dump 1,000,000 coins that we.
But that's what I mean. You can remove that external source of issue.
Yeah, could you finish your thought? I mean, that's kind of interesting.
So you just base it out. You base it off the price. So at the end of the day, the lower the price, the lower the T-share. That means you get more T-shares. So you can have just as much. If the price goes down so much, people who are already fighting and they're hurt, it incentivizes them to, hey, yeah, let me buy more and I'll stake more because I'll get more T-shares now. So yeah, it sucks the price went down, but it's still good for me. And with new people can come in realizing that they have the same opportunity as the day one guy, which is how crypto should be. Like, I don't know. I wanted to always make a crypto where it's not the first guy that always wins. Like it's like anyone can win at any time, and it's just an overall
But
system.
it's not the people from day one though. The people from day one got wrecked. The people that were winning is us. The people that went in on day 30.
Like what I heard some about him being in the White House, right? Like Charles Hostikins.
Yeah, he's gonna meet. I think he's meeting some stuff. He's gonna be doing some things pretty soon.
Like, dude, that could have been
Not,
Richard.
Yeah, a bunch of the
That could have
groups.
easily
Yeah.
been Richard. Like, why?
nah, Richard's personality doesn't align with that.
With
He's
Trump?
more of a you pay me guy.
I think the guy's just addicted to being on the edge, pushing things as far as possible, which is cool. I mean,
maybe.
but when you live like that, man, it's not good if you have a load of people following you, like going off every move you make. Like as an individual, yeah, you take those extreme risks. That's how some people are just wired like that. But obviously that didn't work in our favor yet. I only bring up buy pressure because at the end of the day, it's just about moving these numbers from here to here. And, you can do that with no coiners, or you can do that without no coiners. You got to move.
Yeah, even the crypto community might change their mind at some point. Like there could be, because I know if I get out there and talk to some, like there's quite a bit of support out there. They're just not so vocal about it, right? Like in the deeper weeds of the bigger like crypto nerds out there, I would say, like a lot of them, they might laugh and point fingers, but at the same time they'd be like, yeah, I got some hex or whatever on the sideline, I just ain't talking about it. You know what I mean? Like, so there's a lot. I think there's quite a few people that sort of root for him on the background like that, but they just don't, they're not so vocal or whatever. They're just sort of wait and see types. Like, okay, let's see if this thing flips, and then when it really flips, then oh, do-do-do-do-do. It goes from that buddy to that buddy to that buddy. Oh, you see what's that? Pop, 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 pop. And then,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it goes crazy like that. I mean, sometimes I do want to hear or listen to the positive side of it. That's why I do come to ID Space once in a while. Like, man, I need some positive news.
And anyone listening, I think we all kind of probably have the same sentiment. Like we don't hate Hex,
No,
like we love Hex, and I personally, I still think I could find more flaws with any other crypto than I can with Hex. You just gotta understand, like this is what we talk about daily, so we point out as much of the flaws as possible sometimes, but Hex it can turn around, man. It can turn around easily, and not with Richard, with the injection of sacrifice funds. Even though that I think could very well happen, and if it did, it would turn it around, but that would just be a band-aid. That would be a quick fix, make everyone happy.
Yeah, but then you got that situation again about the centralization, right? Like here we,
So that's the
but
biggest
I
thing.
appreciate what you just said about. Hold on a second, real quick. Let me finish this.
no, I appreciate the objectivity.
Yeah, because Kyle, man, you brought up a good point that we can sit here in these spaces and discuss things that. I mean, I'm not going out there and talking to. I mean, some people like even like my cousin or what. Like this is above and beyond. This is we're in our own little niche group of nerds, like in a corner, somewhere in the world, discussing shit that
Bro,
nobody else knows about.
exactly. All right, so then you guys get what I was trying to say. I wasn't trying to like fought what you guys were saying, because like what Ty was saying, what Kyle was saying makes total effing sense. And eventually, at some point, we will pump